Quick Flicks presents Waterworld. Today, we live in the 21st century, but this story takes place in the 25th century. It depicts a world where all the glaciers have melted, leaving the entire Earth covered in water. The sea level has risen by 25,000 feet, and the surviving humans now live in floating settlements on the ocean. They have adapted to this new environment. However, there is a mythological theory that speaks of a place called Dryland at the end of the ocean, and everyone is searching for it. The story follows a man named Mariner who owns a boat. He uses a container as a toilet and processes the waste through a machine that purifies it. He then drinks the filtered water because seawater is not drinkable. In this world, water is the most valuable resource. Mariner suddenly spots a boat in front of him with a man aboard. Mariner tells him that when drifters meet, they must exchange goods. However, the man replies that he doesn't need anything as he has just come from a floating settlement that is 8 days away from there. Just then, two people appear in the distance. They're known as smokers. These ruthless individuals kill anyone they encounter. As soon as the man sees the smokers approaching, he reveals some stolen fruit he took from Mariner's boat. He mockingly tells Mariner, "You'll never escape from here because Mariner's boat has been damaged." The man then flees, leaving Mariner stranded. Mariner pulls a lever and suddenly large sails unfold on his boat. His vessel is highly advanced and is known as a trimaran boat. It picks up speed quickly. However, the thief who stole his fruit manages to tear through one of the sails and escapes ahead. With the sail damaged, the boat slows down, allowing the smokers to catch up and kill the thief. Despite this, Mariner somehow manages to escape. He eventually reaches the floating settlement that the man had mentioned. When he arrives at the gate, he shows the residents some goods. The people inform him that they already have plenty of traders. However, when Mariner reveals a handful of soil, everyone is stunned. In this era, soil is as valuable as gold and diamonds are today. Because of this, they allow him inside. When Mariner's soil is weighed, it turns out to be 3.5 kilos. The traders offer him 62 coins in exchange, but Mariner demands double the amount. Surprisingly, they agree. After receiving his coins, Mariner visits a shop to buy some drinking water. He also notices a tomato plant there and expresses his desire to purchase it. The shopkeeper, a woman, tells him, "I want half your coins. Only then will I give you the plant." Mariner agrees and buys the tomato plant. The woman's name is Helen, and with her is a little girl named Enola, whom Helen is the guardian of. As Mariner prepares to leave with his belongings, some villagers approach him, accompanied by a woman. They tell him, "You must mate with this woman. If she becomes pregnant, you can take whatever supplies you need and leave." The villagers make this request because Mariner is not from their settlement. Over time, their gene pool has weakened and they need new blood to ensure strong offspring. However, Mariner refuses, saying, "You have nothing I want." This refusal raises suspicion among the villagers. They begin to suspect that Mariner might be a smoker. They inspect him and discover gills behind his ears. One man shouts, "He's a mutant!" The villagers capture him and lock him inside a cage. Just as Mariner is about to be drowned, the smokers attack the settlement. Helen then looks down and sees Mariner struggling underwater, trapped in the cage. She immediately rushes to help him. She tells him, "If I free you, will you take us with you?" Mariner agrees. Helen frees him, and the three of them escape from there. The smokers destroy the settlement and take control of it. Their leader, named Deacon, shouts, "I want the girl with the tattoo." He's actually referring to Enola. Enola has a tattoo on her back, and the smokers believe it is a map leading to Dryland. This is why they attack the settlement. In this world, there are three different groups. The first group is the smokers, who kill people and attack settlements. The second group consists of people living in floating settlements who trade goods among themselves. The third group is the mutants, who have gills behind their ears, just like fish, allowing them to breathe underwater. Mariner is one of these mutants. Mariner tells Helen that they must kill Enola because they do not have enough water for 3 people to survive. Water is extremely valuable in this world since seawater is undrinkable and there are no other sources of fresh water. Helen refuses and says she's just a child. Mariner replies, "Without water, you will both die. It's better if one dies first." However, after some time, Helen convinces Mariner not to kill Enola. Meanwhile, the leader of the smokers Deacon declares, "I want that tattooed girl at any cost," because he wants to reach dry land. He sends his men after Mariner in a plane. The smokers reach Mariner and attack him, shouting, "Don't kill the girl," as they fire continuous rounds. Mariner goes below deck to retrieve his weapons. Helen, seeing him disappear, thinks he has abandoned them. Just then, she notices a gun tied to a large rope. She picks it up and fires at the plane. A large harpoon shoots out and pierces the plane. The plane starts circling Mariner's boat, causing its large sails to tear. Mariner quickly comes up and sees that his boat is about to be destroyed. He frantically tries to cut the rope attached to the plane. After a struggle, he manages to cut the rope, causing him to fall into the water while the plane flies away. However, his boat is severely damaged. Enraged, he cuts off Helen and Enola's hair and yells, "From now on, never touch anything on my boat again." They continue their journey. Soon they spot another boat in the distance with a man on board. Helen suggests, "We should talk to him. He might have food." Mariner initially refuses, but eventually agrees at Helen's insistence. The man possesses a rare and valuable item, paper. In a world covered by water, paper is nearly impossible to find, making it an incredibly valuable object. Much like antiques in today's world, Mariner and Helen approach the man, hoping he has food to offer. However, the man does not have any food. He says, "I will give you the paper, but in return, you must give me Helen." Initially, Mariner agrees and says, "She's yours for half an hour." The man takes Helen to the basement and attempts to assault her. But just then, Mariner comes down and says, "Our deal is cancelled." He returns the paper to the man. Enraged, the man pulls out a knife and tries to attack Mariner. Mariner quickly sends Helen back up and fights the man himself. Eventually, Mariner kills him. Mariner knows that both Helen and Enola are hungry. In fact, he himself is starving. So, he dives into the ocean and hunts a large fish. Now, they all have food and eat to their heart's content. Enola tells Mariner, "I don't know how to swim." She adds, "I wish my feet were like yours." Surprised, Mariner says, "You're the first girl I've ever met who doesn't know how to swim, because in this world, everyone can swim." Helen then reveals to Mariner that she's not Enola's mother, but only her guardian. Over time, as they spend more time together and talk, they start developing a bond. Mariner, who once hated Helen and Enola, now begins to enjoy their company. He even teaches Enola how to swim. After some time, they return to their boat. Suddenly, they spot a large floating outpost in the distance. It is a trading station where people buy and sell goods. Mariner steers his boat toward the outpost, but when he looks through his spyglass, he realizes that the entire outpost has been taken over by the smokers. Deacon, along with his men, has arrived there. His only goal is to capture Enola because he believes the tattoo on her back is a map that leads to dryland. Using his cunning and bravery, Mariner manages to escape. Now, he starts suspecting that the smokers are not chasing him, but only Enola. Mariner asks Helen, "What does the tattoo on her back mean?" Helen replies, "It's a map to dryland, a path to solid ground." Mariner scoffs, "That's foolish. No such place exists." But Helen insists, "When we found Enola, there was dry soil in her basket. That soil was better than any I've ever seen. That's why everyone believes the map on her back leads to dryland." Until now, Helen and Enola had assumed that Mariner was taking them to dryland because his boat had items that could only be made on solid ground. He also possessed soil, but Mariner declares, "There is no such place. You're fools to believe in a land you've never seen." Helen counters, "If dry land doesn't exist, then where did you get all these things? You have glass objects, a music box. All of this could only have come from solid ground." Mariner then says, "You want to see dryland? Come into the water." He takes Helen underwater and locks her inside a sealed box that keeps the water out. Then he dives deep into the ocean with her. At the bottom, they see massive abandoned buildings, remnants of a city that once existed but is now completely submerged. What was once a thriving metropolis is now nothing but an underwater wasteland. Mariner shows Helen this sight to shatter her false hopes. He wants her to understand that dryland is just a myth. When they resurface, they find that the smokers have completely taken over their boat. The smokers demand, "Where is Enola?" Enola is actually hiding inside the boat. The smokers threaten, "If you don't tell us, we will kill both of you." Helen sees Enola's feet peeking out from her hiding spot, but she refuses to reveal her location, because she knows the smokers cannot be trusted. Deacon says, "If they don't tell us, kill both of them." Just as the smokers are about to execute them, Enola calls out and says, "I'm here." She steps forward and the smokers capture her. Deacon orders, "Kill Helen and the Mariner." But before they can be harmed, Mariner and Helen jump into the water. Helen cannot breathe underwater since she's an ordinary human, but Mariner, due to his gills, can breathe. He transfers air to Helen through his mouth, allowing them to stay underwater for a long time. When they resurface, they see that the smokers have completely destroyed Mariner's boat. This deeply saddens him. However, Helen starts falling in love with Mariner because of his kindness and humanity. They grow closer to each other. That night, while Helen is asleep, Mariner dives into the water. Among his belongings is a piece of paper he took from the man they met on a boat. On that paper, there is a drawing of an island, a place filled with trees. Enola had also drawn a similar picture of trees on another piece of paper. Mariner realizes that the tattoo on Enola's back is actually the real map to dry land, because Enola always draws what she has seen. Her drawing of trees means she has been there before. However, escaping from their current situation seems nearly impossible as their boat is completely destroyed. Just then, a hot air balloon appears in the sky. It belongs to Gregor. He is the same man who had escaped during the smokers' attack on their settlement. He recognizes Helen and says, "It's a good thing you burned your boat. I saw the smoke and came here. Otherwise, I would have never found you." With Gregor's help, Helen and Mariner ascend into the balloon. Other survivors from their destroyed settlement are also there. Upon arriving, Mariner says, "I'm going to rescue Enola." He reaches the smokers' large ship and sneaks inside. Inside the ship, many people are questioning their leader, Deacon, asking, "When will we reach dry land?" Deacon lies to them, "I understand the map now, and we are heading to dry land." In reality, although they have the map, Deacon does not know how to read it. However, his lie works, and the people remain calm. As the ship starts moving forward through the ocean, Mariner suddenly appears before Deacon holding a gun. He says, "I want the girl." Deacon, furious, replies, "You won't leave here alive." Just then, Mariner pulls out a burning torch. A pipe filled with oil is in front of him. He throws the torch into the pipe, causing a massive explosion. Many smokers die in the blast. Mariner quickly reaches the area where Enola is being held captive. Gregor drops a rope and Mariner and Enola climb up. A gigantic explosion occurs on the ship below. Almost all the smokers are killed in the blast. Now, everyone is safely aboard the balloon, and Gregor says, "I finally understand the path." He observes the position of the sun and matches it with Enola's tattoo. He announces, "Dryland must be in that direction." They steer the balloon toward that path. Night falls, and everyone goes to sleep. In the morning, when Mariner opens his eyes, he sees a bird perched on their balloon. Then, as he looks ahead, he spots a towering mountain. It is Mount Everest. However, Everest is now lush and green, covered with trees, plants, birds, and fresh water streams. Everyone descends and discovers a small hut nearby. Inside the hut, they find two skeletons. They are Enola's parents. They also find tattooing equipment there. In reality, Enola's parents knew that they were going to die. That is why they tattooed the map onto Enola's back and placed her in a basket, setting her adrift in the ocean. They also put dry soil in the basket so that whoever found her would understand that dry land was real. Their plan worked. Today, Enola has finally returned home. However, Mariner is not happy. He does not feel comfortable in this place. He realizes that he does not belong here. He's not just a human. He's a creature of the ocean. He feels as if the sea is calling him back. He builds a new boat and prepares to return to the ocean. Helen and Enola do not want him to leave. Helen loves him, but Mariner knows he must go. He bids them farewell and sets sail back toward the sea. With this, the story comes to an end.